Shalom to the Lord's elect. Let's begin this lesson by giving honor and glory to the power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Yahawah, our Heavenly Father, and His only begotten Son, our King, our Redeemer, our Savior, our big brother, our hero, Yahawashi. Let's give double honors to the men that He has raised up in these last days, our leaders out of the great millstone, our head apostles, the elders, the bishop that taught us this truth. And salutation, peace to the Lord's elect, the tabernacle of David, the 144,000, followed by the large multitude, men, women, children, whom our King, our Redeemer, Yahawashi is going to have mercy upon. Again is your brother Malak coming to you through the spirit and power of our King, our Redeemer, Yahawashi. Yes, Russia is deploying portable nuclear shelters for their citizens, okay? Russia deploying portable nuclear shelter for their citizens. But before we get right into it, yeah, family, they are preparing for something big, and it is coming. But before we get right into it, we're going to allow Conor McGregor, former high-ranking member of the United States military. He also served in the Trump administration. He is going to speak about the current event, what is happening, geopolitics-wise. Okay, he's going to cover that. And before we do that, let's bring out a quick precept and honor our power, the power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Isaiah 66, we're going to go to verse 15. It said, "For behold, the Lord Yahawah will come with fire and with his chariots like a whirlwind to render his anger with fury and his rebuke with flames of fire." That's how Yahawashi is coming. Okay, Tawada Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi is coming with thousands and thousands of chariots. Esau, self-proclaimed white men, called them what? UFOs, but we know them as the chariot of Israel. 2 Kings chapter 2, verse 11. They are the chariot of Israel. That's how Yahawashi is coming. It says here, Isaiah 66:15, "For behold, the Lord Yahawah will come with fire and with his chariots like a whirlwind to render his anger. You hear that? With fury and his rebuke with flames of fire." It said, "For by fire and his sword will the Lord Yahawah plead." The word plead goes into judgment, to judge with all flesh. You hear that? "For by fire and by his sword will the Lord Yahawah plead with all flesh, and the slain of the Lord Yahawah shall be many." Jeremiah 25:33 also says the same thing. It said the slain of the Lord is going to cover the entire earth. All right? Then nobody's going to be mourning for dead bodies. Nobody's going to be going around picking up their dead body, telling people, calling funeral homes to go pick up the bodies. No, that ain't going to happen. There are going to be too many bodies everywhere. Okay? Bodies everywhere. Yahawashi is coming to destroy. And he's coming to kill. That's what he's coming to do. Render judgment. Isaiah 63. Okay, it says here, "For by fire and by his sword will the Lord Yahawah plead with all flesh, and the slain of the Lord shall be many." Let's read this in the NLT. It says here, "The Lord Yahawah will punish the world by fire, and by his sword he will judge the earth, and many will be killed by him." Are you listening to this? This is not my word. This is the word of the Lord. Again, it said, "The Lord Yahawah, through his only begotten Son, Yahawashi, will punish the world by fire. And by his sword, he will judge the earth, and many will be killed by him." Are you listening to this? Many will be killed by him. That's why Yahawah, through his only begotten Son, Yahawashi, is bringing upon the earth. So, family, let's hear what Conor McGregor have to say. Fair use out breaking. NATO attacks Russia, defies Trump call for peace. No, nobody's bringing peace. But hear what the Conor McGregor have to say. The Conor McGregor, here we go.
NATO decided to ignore all of that and launched long-range weapons into Russia for the very first time. President Biden seems like he's trying to start World War III before he leaves office. Europe on edge today. What does all of this mean for Europe, the United States, and, frankly, the Middle East? Let's ask Colonel Douglas McGregor, who's just penned a brand new piece for the American Conservative about all of this, and we wanted to invite him on. Colonel, unbelievable news this morning. I mean, last night we get Trump sending this video message out about peace. We need to end this right now, a cessation of hostilities. and then the Biden administration, or whoever's running the Biden administration, tells Ukraine, go ahead and launch these long-range missiles. What do you make of this morning?
You know, I was trying to think of a previous presidency where we'd seen something like this. But if you go back to 1968, when Richard Nixon was running for office, LBJ didn't do anything to harm Nixon. He did everything in his power to be as honest and forthright with Nixon as he could be, admitting that he was essentially unsure what to do next. And so this is really something radically new. The last time a president left office with an unmitigated disaster in the Oval Office behind him was Buchanan. And of course, he bequeathed to Abraham Lincoln the Civil War. You got to go back that far. But Buchanan was not mendacious. This is pure mendacity. This is malevolence. This is a deliberate attempt to subvert the election. You know, we're unhappy. You're going to come in here and you think you're going to make peace. Well, we're going to fix you. To some extent, I looked at this. It doesn't fit the definition of treason per se, but I think it's pretty damn close.
I mean, overnight, Polymarket, which accurately predicted the presidential election, and then the feds raided the CEO of Polymarket's home because he nailed it, showed that Trump was going to win. So this morning, we have Polymarket numbers showing that the use of a nuclear weapon in the year 2024 is likely. I mean, people are betting that, yes, we're going to see the use of a nuclear weapon in 2024. It's risen overnight thanks to this latest long-range attack. I mean, what are they playing at? I mean, it's like fun for these. It's like fun for these people.
Well, you're right. This is not a game. This is very serious stuff. And President Putin earlier today signed a new description of the use of nuclear weapons in Russian strategy. In other words, he's changed the approach, saying that effectively, if we're attacked in overwhelming numbers by conventional forces across our border, whether these are manned or unmanned systems like the ATACMS missiles or cruise missiles, we reserve the right to use essentially a nuclear weapon to strike the territory from which the attack was launched. Now, this was not an overwhelming attack. What Zelensky did was launch 6 ATACMS missiles, 5 of which the Russians successfully intercepted and shot down. The 6th struck near a location in Russia called Rawchaa, where there is a stockpile of weapons, but it didn't hit the stockpile. It simply started a small fire, which was quickly put out. Now, Vladimir Putin and the Russian state want to put an end to this war. There's no question about it. They would like it to end. And they know that President Trump is certainly willing to try and end it. So this gives them an incentive to exercise more restraint until he arrives. But the bad news is that I think this attack is probably going to trigger the use of weapons to destroy, frankly, what remains of Ukraine. We know that over the weekend, they already struck the power grid in western Ukraine, which means that the people in the west, as well as the east, in the areas controlled by the Ukrainian government right now, are all going to freeze through the winter, which is a disaster. Of course, they just said they were going to cut off natural gas to Austria as well. The bottom line is this could trigger the thing that everybody says they don't want to happen, which is a major advance by Russian forces, which are already advancing as we speak here very, very rapidly, all the way to the Dnieper River. Because if you're in the Russian General Staff and you look at the map, you know that President Trump doesn't come into office until 21 January, and you have this maniac in Kiev who seems to be determined with his friends in Washington to start a war that could lead to nuclear exchange. Then you say, Mr. President, we strongly recommend we seize the river line, go all the way to the river and be done with it, and then potentially, if necessary, go into Kiev itself and eliminate this government. I think those things are now on the table, and this might well trigger it.
A total flattening of Ukraine.
Yes.
I mean, and people in Washington are playing this game right now, all in an effort to seemingly undermine President Trump. What will... I just can't wrap my head around the disconnect from these insane people. So they're trying to undermine President Trump. They're funneling additional billions of dollars of weapons into Ukraine at any possible last minute. Antony Blinken mentioning that the other day. They're going to do that right up until Trump takes office. We're going to funnel as much money as we can into that. But at the heart of it, Europeans are going to be killed. Americans could be killed. And I don't think they have any remorse about it. What do you think the response is going to be to European countries and to the United States?
Well, you bring up a very critical point. What happens now in Eastern Europe, specifically in Eastern Ukraine, does not stay there. This has an impact on Russia's view of its relations with us everywhere. Now, you've heard these reports about North Korean troops supposedly in Eastern Ukraine. It's a total lie. There's no evidence to support that. The people using satellites, watching carefully, see no one on the ground that resembles anybody from North Korea. The only North Korean troops in Russia are in eastern Siberia. They are not west of the Urals, so there's none of that. This is being used as another excuse for escalating the war to the level that we are now, where we're using Army tactical missile systems with a 200-mile range. Now, this is going to lead to more trouble, but the trouble that we're going to see is what you're describing. If we find that any of these weapons are being launched from Germany or France or Great Britain, if we find that these weapons are coming from Germany, Great Britain, France, I think those countries could be in for an attack. They could actually, for the first time, see their countries at war, seriously at war with Russia. Remember, Vladimir Putin always said, if you persist in this and you attack the Russian homeland, you will be at war with Russia. Now, that's a very dangerous condition to be in right now because we can't stop anything. As I and others on your program have said in the past, we don't have the air and missile defense capability to stop these missiles. And that's not just hypersonic. We can only defend about 5 to 7% of NATO territory. And yet we're provoking the one state in the world today which has the capacity to fire thousands and thousands and thousands of missiles that could reach our homelands. They could obviously attack us as well. I don't think that's going to happen because that's not something that Vladimir Putin wants to do, and he does know that essentially Trump wants to end the war, so he's going to exercise restraint. But the people who are going to pay the most price right now are the Ukrainians. They're simply going to be annihilated.
And overnight, Sweden, Finland is warning its residents to be ready for war, saying the situation is serious. And so here we go. You just wrote a new piece called Trump and the Storm of the Century, and really as it relates to the Middle East. But as you mentioned, what happens in Ukraine is not isolated to Ukraine. It has implications in the Middle East and what Trump does against Iran as well. I mean, can you unpack this for us?
Well, the thing is that right now we're making it clear to Russia that we see Russia as a permanent, unchanging enemy. In other words, there's no room for negotiation, no room for coexistence as far as Washington is concerned. Well, Russia has vital strategic interests in the Middle East. They are going to stand by Iran. President Putin has said this publicly.
Again, that is prophecy. That takes us to Ezekiel 38. Okay, let me bring that out quickly. But first, before we do that, the second war, which is the Second World War, is past. And behold, the third war, which is the Third World War, cometh quickly. That's what it's all about. This is the Lord's program. This is the Lord's program. Okay, nobody's going to stop Third World War. But again, let's go here quickly to Ezekiel 38, because he says what? He says Russia will defend Iran, because that is the instruction that the Lord has what? Programmed, because it tells you in the book of Proverbs chapter 21 verse 1, the king's heart is in the hand of the Lord, like the rivers of water. He turns whichever way he chooses. So the Lord have put it in the mind of Russia to what? To defend what? Iran. Okay, and it tells you Ezekiel 28, Ezekiel 38. He said we're going to go straight to the point. Verse 5, it says here, Persia, that's modern day Iran, Ethiopia and Libya with them, all of them with shield and helmet, Gomer and all his bands, the house of Togoma, of the north quarters. Togoma is why your modern day Turkey. We know Turkey is a member of NATO, but they will leave NATO and join Russia. of the north quarters and all his bands, and many people with thee. There are going to be other nations that are going to join with Russia for this third world war. But now here is the instruction that the Lord gave Russia. Okay, Russia is known as Gog, also in Jeremiah and also in Isaiah is known as the Medes. Okay, it said, "Be thou prepared." The Lord is telling Russia, be thou prepared and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. So the Lord is not only telling Russia to be prepared, make sure your allies are also well equipped, okay, and take control over them. This is what he said. Russia has what? That's right. What is it called? Has interest in the Levant, aka Middle East, and Iran is one of what? The BRICS member. So Russia is going to protect a member of the BRICS. Okay, that's right. This is what it's about resources, because in their mind, Russia thinks they're going to be the next to rule. But no, the Lord is just building them up to bring down Babylon the Great, your modern day Pharaoh. Okay, let's go.
He said it's a priority for the Russian people to protect Iran. And he's also made it very clear to the Israelis not to attack his forces that are on the ground in Syria. Now, at the same time, you've got Russian foreign minister and Russian military leaders traveling all over the region. They have a huge presence in Iran, but that's not the only location where they are right now. They've effectively covered the whole region. And if anything, we're seeing an alliance of all the states in the region today, including Turkey, against Israel. Remember, the Turks have broken relations with Israel, which is something that, for whatever reason, nobody in Washington expected. And the Turks have made it very clear that they will turn on the Kurds, whom we are pushing to war with Turkey, in the hope that that will divert the Turks from taking any action against Israel. Well, that's absurd. They can go through the Kurds in a matter of weeks and annihilate everything in northern Iraq that threatens them, and they still have hundreds of thousands of troops left over that they can pour into Lebanon. And remember, they've got millions of refugees on their soil now. They've got another 1.5 million refugees coming out of Lebanon because the Israelis are now trying to do to Lebanon what they've done in Gaza. And there's every reason to expect the Israelis to do in Palestine, that is the West Bank, what they've done in Gaza. The Egyptians have now formally met with the Turks, the Egyptian military. They will cooperate. And Jordan is close to exploding. There are 11.2 million Palestinian Arabs living in Jordan who formerly lived in Israel. They are on the verge of exploding. So the entire region is a powder keg. And what we're doing in Russia signals to Russia that they have no incentive whatsoever to cooperate with us in the Middle East to prevent a wider regional war.
Because what he's saying is prophecy. This is where we are. 2 Ezra 15:28. Behold, an horrible vision and the appearance thereof from the east. That's what the Levant, aka Middle East. A horrible vision. Why is the Lord saying this was a horrible vision? He said, where the nations, he had the nations of the dragons of Arabia. He just said it. All the Middle East countries uniting to do what? To attack America and what? And Israel. America have a lot of military bases across the Middle East. He said, where the nations of the dragons of Arabia shall come out with many chariots. This is the major prophecy that we're waiting for. This is what? The war of Armageddon. This is what's going to usher in Yahawashi, the Third World War, also known as the War of Armageddon, family. We are here. Where the nations of the dragons of Arabia shall come out with many chariots. Chariots represent what? Their drones, their aircraft, their missiles. And the multitude of them shall what? Be carried as the wind upon the earth, that all they which hear them may fear and tremble. And everybody's going to be afraid because they're about to unite against who? America and Israel. But hear what it says next. Listen to verse 30. 2 Ezra chapter 15:30. Also the Carmanians. That's right. In what? In Ezekiel 38, the Lord called them what? Persian. But now this is another name for what? Iran. It says also the Carmanians raging in wrath shall go forth as the wild boars of the wood, and with great power shall they come and join battle with who? The dragons of Arabia. And join battles with them and shall waste a portion of the land of Assyrians. Which is why, which represent America, also represent Israel. Because fam, it's all part of the West. Israel represents the West. America represents the West. America is the one controlling the West. The last leg of the Roman Empire, Esau, Edom's kingdom, is coming to an end. Let's continue.
Contrary, they're now positioned to do enormous damage to us in Israel, in the Middle East, just as they are positioned.
Oh, that is prophet. I just read. I just said it. They're going to destroy a portion of what? The land of the Assyrians. And he just said it. A lot of damage to what? America. Let's go ahead. Let's go. Let me go back to. Yeah.
Military. They will cooperate. And Jordan is close to exploding. There are 11.2 million Palestinian Arabs living in Jordan who formerly lived in Israel. They are on the verge of exploding. So the entire region is a powder keg. And what we're doing in Russia signals to Russia that they have no incentive whatsoever to cooperate with us in the Middle East to prevent a wider regional war. On the contrary, they're now positioned to do enormous damage to us in Israel, in the Middle East, just as they are positioned to do that in Eastern Europe. And again, and we've been over this before, Clayton, we are not in a position to wage a major regional war against anyone. I don't know how many.
Isn't that what the Lord says in the book of Jeremiah? Let's go there. The mighty men of Babylon forbore to fight. They can't fight. They can't stand the Russians. They were not going to be able to fight the Russians. Okay? Let's go here. I think is it 30. Let's start from, I think it's 35. Is this Jeremiah 30, no, please bear with me. Is it 51? I think it's 51. It's 50. Sorry, I think it's 50. It said the mighty men of Babylon forbore to fight. Let me see. Oh, come on. Let's go here. Let's do this. The mighty men forbore to fight. I think is it Jeremiah? No. Jeremiah 51:30. That's right. He said it. They are not equipped to fight. Let's go back here so you can hear it from his mouth.
The Turks from taking any action against Israel. Well, that's absurd. They can go through the Kurds in a matter of weeks and annihilate everything in northern Iraq that threatens them, and they still have hundreds of thousands of troops left over that they can pour into Lebanon. And remember, they've got millions of refugees on their soil now. They've got another 1.5 million refugees coming out of Lebanon because the Israelis are now trying to do to Lebanon what they've done in Gaza. And there's every reason to expect the Israelis to do in Palestine, that is the West Bank, what they've done in Gaza. The Egyptians have now formally met with the Turks, the Egyptian military. They will cooperate. And Jordan is close to exploding. There are 11.2 million Palestinian Arabs living in Jordan who formerly lived in Israel. They are on the verge of exploding. So the entire region is a powder keg. And what we're doing in Russia signals to Russia that they have no incentive whatsoever to cooperate with us in the Middle East to prevent a wider regional war. On the contrary, they're now positioned to do enormous damage to us in Israel, in the Middle East, just as they are positioned to do that in Eastern Europe. And again, and we've been over this before, Clayton, we are not in a position to wage a major regional war against anyone. I don't know how many ATACMs we have left, but I doubt very seriously.
Yeah, because Jeremiah 51, it said, the mighty men of Babylon have forbore to fight. They have remained in their holes. Their might have failed. Yet their might have failed. America only goes around the world attacking nations that cannot defend themselves. But now they are facing a superpower, which is what? Russia. That's how the Lord have set this thing. The Lord set this thing up. You see, that's what listen, you have to wait on the Lord. You see, the Lord have set this up. It's about to embarrass Babylon the Great, America. He said the mighty men of Babylon have forborne to fight. They have remained in their holes. Their might have failed. They became as women. They have burned her dwelling places. Her bars are broken. That's what is coming to America. They're not going to be able to fight Russia. The Lord is about to show his power. Everybody is going to know who Yahawashi is. The same way he magnified his name after he drowned Pharaoh and his military in the Red Sea. He's about to do the same thing to America. It's about to set America on fire. And everybody is going to know that it is the Lord that did it. Family, let's go.
That there are many there. And if the French are dumb enough to provide cruise missiles to these people, then the French could be on the receiving end, as I pointed out earlier. And the Germans, who thus far have said they're not going to send anything more to Ukraine, have now suddenly said they're going to provide some kind of unmanned system support. These people are begging to be destroyed. Russia is not bluffing. The Russians are not buffaloing anybody. And people in Washington still don't get it. I don't know why, but they don't.
Okay, I'm going to leave it there. Bahasham, family, we are close. But now listen to this. Russia deploying portable nuclear shelters for citizens. That's what they're doing for their citizens. What is Biden and Trump doing for their citizens in America and the West, Canada, Australia, all these places? What are they doing for their citizens? They are doing nothing for them because they are preparing them for what is coming. Russia has begun mass production of and full distribution of what? Nuclear blast and radiation shelters for what? The public. The top photo taken this past summer shows what the shelters look like. Yeah. They protect what? They are preparing their citizens for what is about to take place. It's World War III and it's going to be nuclear. It says here, bomb shelters in Moscow have been upgraded so that the city's entire population can be protected according to Russian authorities. Okay? It says here, 40 million people Putin builds bomb shelter Putin builds bomb shelters protect Moscow entire population here. Meanwhile, in the U.S. government, it says, meanwhile, the U.S. government has essentially done nothing to prepare our citizens for an attack. The assumption seems to be that a nuclear attack will probably never happen, and that if it does, it will probably mean the end of our civilization anyway. So if the present Russian-Ukraine conflict does go nuclear, as is now likely after Joe Biden gave permission for Ukraine to hit deep inside Russia with US missiles, then Russia survives and we in the US do not. Take that cold, hard reality into account when you realize that after Biden gave Ukraine permission at 1 p.m. this past Sunday afternoon, Ukraine did in fact use such missiles to strike Russia last night. Since American supplied and American satellite-guided missiles have now struck Russia, Russia has the right to strike us back here inside the USA. They have shelters, we have none. They win, we lose. That's right. That's what the Lord says in Isaiah 13, one of my favorite verses. Yeah. It said Babylon will fall to the meat. It's coming out every day now. That precept is coming out every day now. Yeah, so that's where we are, family. That's where we are. Do I have another article? Yeah, that's okay. I'm going to leave it there. Nuclear war apocalypse countdown. Challenge versus Putin on missile by Biden, NATO, EU for total conflict before Trump's era. Yeah, family, we're praying that this third world war will pop off before Trump takes office. Okay, we're praying. But family, let's finish here. I don't want this thing to be long. I wanted to bring this quick hit out and glorify the Lord Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. And 2 Ezra chapter 8 verse 1. And he answered me saying, the Most High have made this world for many, but the world to come for few. You see, but here, it says here, verse 3 said, there be many created, but few shall be saved. That's right. The Lord is not coming to save everybody. The Lord is coming to destroy a lot. Didn't we read Isaiah 63? Again, let's go back there again. Let's read this again. Isaiah 63 verse 15. For behold, the Lord Yahawah. Let's read this in the NLT. Let's read this in the NLT. It says, see, the Lord Yahawah is coming with fire, and his swift chariot roar like a whirlwind. He will bring punishment with the fury of his anger and the flaming fire of his hot rebuke. That's how the Lord is coming. Yahawashi is coming. It's coming. Isaiah 34 tells you he's coming to have a sacrifice in Bozrah. That's America. Ezekiel 38, the war of Armageddon, which is going to take place in the Middle East. After they destroy Israel, they're going to face America. Yeah, that's what is coming. That's what is coming. And we say Tawada, Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. So beloved, I'm going to end it there. I'm going to end it there. Stay prayed up, man. Salvation is coming. We have to pray that the Lord speed things up for us. We need this World War III to start like yesterday. That's what we want. Pray that the Lord will cut the time short for us. Yahawashi himself said that he's going to cut the time short for us. He said in the book of Isaiah. Matthew 24 verse 21 and 22. He said it. For his elect's sake, he's going to cut the time short for us. Let's finish there. Let's go there. Let's finish there. Tawada Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. And we thank the King for what he has done for us in the land of our captivity. We are rejoicing in the name of our King, our Redeemer, Yahawashi. Matthew 24 verse 21. It says here, for then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. And except those days should be shortened. That's why the days are flying by, family. Tomorrow is November 20th. It says, and except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved, but for the elect's sake, the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. The King is coming to redeem the elect, and is coming to kill a lot of people too. He's going to have the most body count. You have these women out there bragging about their body counts. Oh, no. Yeah, there's some of the women here in Babylon and across the world. That's right. These Western women, majority of them are going to be part of the Lord's body count. And we can't wait. We cannot wait. Shalom to the Lord's elect. I'll leave it there.